Welcome to Legacy Coins, and before we go any further, let me ask you something that might just stop you in your tracks. What if the dime sitting in your drawer, the one you almost tossed into a tip jar without a second thought, was secretly worth more than most people earn in an entire lifetime? That sounds impossible, right? That sounds like the kind of thing that only happens in movies or to someone else, never to you. But today we are going to prove that wrong because we're talking about a real coin, a real dime, minted right here in the United States, that has shaken the coin collecting world to its very core, and its value will absolutely leave your jaw on the floor. We are talking about the 1974 D. Roosevelt dime. And what collectors and experts have discovered about certain versions of this coin is nothing short of extraordinary, with values soaring into the range of $148 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $148 million for a dime. So do not go anywhere because what you are about to hear will completely change the way you look at every single coin you ever touch again. And trust me when I say that by the end of this video, you're going to want to tear apart every coin jar, every old jacket pocket, and every forgotten drawer in your home. And wait, because the second coin we're covering today, I cannot say too much yet, but let me just tell you, there's something about it that made even the most seasoned numismatists go completely silent the moment they understood what they were looking at. You will not want to miss that. But first, let us dive deep into the legend that is the 1974 D. Roosevelt dime. To truly understand why this coin carries such an astronomical value, we have to take ourselves back to the year 1974, a time when America was navigating one of the most turbulent economic and political periods in modern history. The Watergate scandal was consuming the nation. Inflation was beginning to creep upward in ways that made everyday Americans anxious. Gas shortages were real, and the mood of the country was uneasy. The United States Mint was operating under enormous pressure to keep up with the coinage demands of a rapidly growing economy. And that pressure, as history has shown us time and again, can sometimes lead to extraordinary mistakes. The Denver Mint, which carries the D Mint mark that gives this coin its identity, was producing hundreds of millions of dimes that year. Hundreds of millions. And in that massive, mechanical, relentless production process, errors happen. They are rare, they are unintentional, and they are the very reason why coin collectors lose sleep. The 1974 D dime, on the surface, looks exactly like every other Roosevelt dime from that era. Franklin Roosevelt's profile faces left on the obverse, just as it has since 1946 when the dime design was introduced to honor the late president who had guided America through World War II. The reverse features the Torch of Liberty flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbols of peace and strength. Standard design. Nothing that would make you look twice in an ordinary transaction. But certain specimens of the 1974 D dime contain anomalies that set them apart from every other coin in existence. We're talking about striking errors, planchet abnormalities, and die varieties that were never supposed to leave the mint floor. One of the most significant types involves what specialists call a broad strike error combined with a misaligned die, where the coin was struck outside its collar, causing the design to spread in a way that is visually dramatic and numismatically irreplaceable. Others involve double die obverse errors, where the hub die impressed the design onto the working die more than once at a slightly different angle, leaving Roosevelt's features with a ghostly, doubled appearance that is absolutely unmistakable under magnification. There are also known specimens with dramatic off-center strikes, where the coin's design is entirely shifted, leaving a crescent of blank planchet visible on one side, while the design crowds toward the other. Each of these error types alone would make a coin valuable. But when multiple anomalies converge on a single coin, when you have a 1974 D dime that was struck on the wrong planchet, in a misaligned die, with doubling visible on the obverse inscription, You are no longer talking about a collectible. You're talking about a museum-level artifact. And that is precisely what the most valuable known 1974 D specimens represent. Imagine the moment of discovery. Picture someone sitting at a coin show table, casually flipping through a bag of unsearched coins they picked up from an estate sale, maybe paying $50 for the lot, not expecting much, scanning each coin briefly before setting it aside, and then stopping, looking again, reaching for a loop, heart rate climbing, because what they are seeing does not match any normal coin they have ever examined. The date is clear, 1974. The mint mark is there, D. But the surface of that coin tells a story of mechanical chaos, of a split-second error in a building full of roaring machinery, an error that somehow survived quality control and slipped into circulation where it rode in someone's pocket, sat in a piggy bank, got dropped in a sofa cushion, was forgotten for decades until this exact moment. That is the romance of error coinage. That is why collectors will travel thousands of miles and spend fortunes chasing these pieces. The auction history surrounding rare 1974 D. Roosevelt Dimes specimens is nothing short of breathtaking. Expert numismatic evaluators who have examined top-tier error specimens from this year in mint have assessed values that climb dramatically with each passing auction cycle. As the pool of serious collectors grows globally and the supply of authentic, high-grade specimens remains permanently fixed. When a coin like this surfaces in a major auction house, the bidding room goes electric. Online bidding platforms light up. Phones ring off the hook in private dealer circles. The reason is simple. No more of these will ever be made. The Denver Mint's 1974 production run is over forever. Every authentic error coin from that year is a finite resource. And in the world of rare coins, finite resources paired with explosive demand is the formula for values that seem to defy rational explanation. Consider also the grading factor. When a 1974 D-error dime surfaces in gem uncirculated condition, meaning it has never been spent, never been passed hand to hand, somehow went directly from mint production into storage and emerged decades later with its luster intact, the value multiplies in a way that is almost incomprehensible. Coin grading services like PCGS and NGC, the two most respected independent grading authorities in the numismatic world, assign numerical grades from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a theoretically perfect coin. A 1974 D. Roosevelt Dime error coin graded MS, 65 or above, meaning it is in exceptional mint state condition, represents a convergence of rarity and preservation that almost never happens. And when it does, the price conversation starts in the millions and escalates from there. Now here is the part that should make every single one of you pause and think carefully. These coins were minted in enormous quantities. Most of them are exactly what they appear to be, ordinary dimes worth exactly 10 cents. But a small number, a fraction of that total production, contain errors that were never caught, never recalled, never destroyed. They went into circulation. They went into vending machines and cash registers and coin jars and piggy banks. They passed through millions of hands. Some of them are still out there, unidentified, unappreciated, sitting in your home right now waiting to be found. The thought of that is genuinely thrilling. And if you have ever collected coins casually, or even if you have never thought about coins at all, right now is the moment to start paying attention. Check your Roosevelt Dimes. Any year, any mint mark, but pay especially close attention to your 1974 D pieces. Get a magnifying glass. Look for doubling on the lettering or on Roosevelt's portrait. Look for anything that seems off-center. Look for planchet irregularities, strange textures, anything that makes that coin look different from the standard issue. Because somewhere out there, A coin worth a fortune is waiting for someone curious enough to look. And now, I need to remind you of something. We still have the second coin coming in this video, and I promise you, what I am about to share next is going to absolutely stun you. I cannot give you the details yet, but I will say this. The story behind our next coin involves a set of circumstances so unusual, so tied to a specific moment in mint history, that when you hear the full story, you're going to feel genuine disbelief. Some of the most experienced collectors in the country have called it one of the most remarkable coins they have ever encountered. So stay with us. Do not click away, because we're just getting started, and the best is absolutely still to come. And if you thought the 1974 Roosevelt Dime was unbelievable, and it absolutely is, the next coin we are about to reveal is even more jaw-dropping, even more historically significant, and the value attached to it will make everything you just heard sound like a warm-up act. Stay right where you are. Next, the 1983 Roosevelt Dime. And before you even think about scrolling away, let me paint you a picture that might just change your financial life forever. Imagine going through a jar of old coins your grandmother left behind. The kind of jar that sits on a shelf for decades collecting dust, completely ignored because everyone assumes it is just spare change not worth the effort of counting. You reach in, you pull out a dime, you almost set it aside, and then something catches your eye. Something about this coin looks different. Something about the surface, the strike, the way the light hits it, tells your instincts that this is not just any dime. And your instincts would be absolutely right, because if that coin happens to be a 1983 Roosevelt dime with the right combination of characteristics, you could be holding $163 million in the palm of your hand. $163 million for a dime. A single, small, seemingly insignificant 10-cent piece that most people would drop into a vending machine without a second glance. And that is precisely what makes this coin one of the most extraordinary numismatic stories ever told. To understand why the 1983 Roosevelt dime occupies such a legendary and almost mythical space in the world of coin collecting, we have to travel back to the early 1980s, a period in American history that was defined by dramatic economic upheaval, political transformation, and significant changes within the United States Mint itself. Ronald Reagan had just taken office, promising to reshape the American economy from the ground up. Inflation, which had ravaged purchasing power throughout the late 1970s, was still a very real concern. Interest rates had climbed to historic highs. The financial landscape of America was under enormous stress, and the United States Mint, like every other government institution, was being pushed to modernize, streamline, and produce more efficiently. It was within this environment of change, pressure, and institutional transformation that the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P Mint mark that gives this coin its designation, was operating in 1983. And it was within this environment that something happened. Something that should not have happened. Something that slipped through layers of quality control and oversight that were supposed to catch exactly this kind of anomaly. The result was a coin that now stands as one of the most coveted and debated pieces in all of American numismatics. The 1983 Roosevelt dime carries with it a combination of rarity factors that, when they converge in a single specimen, create a value proposition that is almost impossible to rationalize unless you understand the world of serious coin collecting. Let us begin with the most significant and widely discussed anomaly associated with this date and mint, the no-S-proof error connection, the reverse die anomalies, and perhaps most dramatically, the existence of specimens struck on incorrect planchets that were never supposed to enter the coin production stream at that facility. Now, the Philadelphia Mint in 1983 was producing circulation strikes bearing the P Mint mark, which had only been added to Roosevelt dimes beginning in 1980, making all early 1980s P Mint Dimes a relatively recent addition to the Roosevelt series. But what makes certain 1983 P Dimes so extraordinary goes far beyond simple mint mark novelty. In that year, a number of remarkable die errors and planchet irregularities have been documented and authenticated by independent grading services, creating a category of 1983 P. Roosevelt dimes that exists in a completely different universe from the standard circulation pieces. Among the most breathtaking documented error types is the double die obverse, where pressure and mechanical imprecision during the hub-to-die transfer process cause the design elements to be impressed at a slightly offset angle, resulting in a coin where Roosevelt's portrait, the date, and the inscriptions appear with a haunting, unmistakable doubling that is visible not just under magnification, but in some dramatic cases even to the naked eye. When you hold a strong double die 1983 P. Roosevelt dime under a quality loop, and you see Franklin Roosevelt's face split into two overlapping impressions, you're looking at a moment of mechanical failure frozen in metal forever. That coin becomes irreplaceable. That coin becomes the subject of obsession for serious collectors who understand exactly what they are seeing. But the double die is only one piece of this extraordinary puzzle. There are also authenticated specimens of the 1983 P. Roosevelt dime that were struck on planchets intended for foreign coin production. The United States Mint has historically produced coins for other countries, and on rare, catastrophic occasions, a foreign planchet finds its way into the production stream for domestic coinage. When a Roosevelt dime design is struck onto a planchet of the wrong size, wrong composition, or wrong weight, the result is a coin that is simultaneously unmistakably American in design and utterly alien in its physical characteristics. These wrong planchet errors are among the rarest and most valuable error types in all of numismatics. And a confirmed 1983 P. Roosevelt dime struck on a foreign planchet would represent a find so significant that it would immediately become the centerpiece of any major auction. The bidding war that would erupt around such a coin would be the stuff of legends, and the final hammer price would almost certainly shatter records. Then there is the matter of the clad layer errors. Coins where the bonding process that fuses the copper core of the dime with its outer nickel-clad layers failed in dramatic fashion, leaving a coin that is missing an entire face of its clad coating, exposing the raw copper beneath and creating a visual effect that is simultaneously striking and deeply unusual. A 1983 P. Roosevelt dime with a full obverse clad layer missing, graded in high mint state condition, is the kind of coin that makes auction houses call their best clients before the catalog even goes to print. And beyond all of these documented error types, there is the simple, powerful reality of condition rarity. The 1983 P. Roosevelt dime, like most circulation coinage from that era, was produced in enormous quantities, and the vast majority of those coins went directly into commerce, where they were spent, worn, scratched, and eventually lost to the grading scale permanently. Finding a 1983 P. Roosevelt dime in genuine gem uncirculated condition, MS 67 or higher on the 70-point scale, is genuinely difficult, and finding one at that grade level that also carries a significant error is so rare that authenticated examples in top populations have historically driven prices to extraordinary levels. The PCGS and NGC population reports, which track every coin submitted to those services and their assigned grades, tell a story of genuine scarcity at the upper end of the condition spectrum for this date, and scarcity combined with collector demand is the engine that drives values into territory that sounds fictional until you watch it happen live at auction. Picture the atmosphere inside a major numismatic auction event when a top-tier 1983 P. Error dime comes across the block. The room has been aware of this lot for weeks, since the catalog was released and the coin's images and certification details circulated through the collecting community. Dealers have flown in from across the country. Serious collectors have arranged phone bidding lines. The auction house representative stands at the podium, describes the coin in careful, measured language that nevertheless cannot fully contain the excitement. And then the bidding opens. It climbs fast. It climbs in ways that make observers audibly react. And when the hammer finally falls, the number on the board represents not just the value of a 10-cent piece, but the value of history, of error, of rarity, of the almost miraculous fact that this coin survived intact through decades of production, distribution, and the general chaos of commerce to arrive at this exact moment. That is what $163 million means in the context of a dime. It means a perfect storm of historical circumstance, mechanical failure, exceptional preservation, and the passionate, relentless pursuit of perfection by collectors who understand that the rarest coins are not just investments. They are irreplaceable fragments of American history, frozen in metal. And now think about what this means for you, sitting wherever you are right now, with coin jars and old change dishes and forgotten pockets and drawers full of loose coins that have not been examined in years, maybe decades. The 1983 Roosevelt Dime was a circulation coin. It was made to be spent. It went into cash registers and vending machines and tip jars and piggy banks and sofa cushions and jacket pockets and coin rolls that got tucked into the back of a closet and forgotten. It is out there. Authentic, extraordinary examples of this coin are sitting unidentified in collections and accumulations all over this country, waiting for someone to look closely enough to recognize what they have found. All you need is the right coin, the right set of eyes, and the willingness to examine what most people dismiss as ordinary pocket change. Get your Roosevelt Dimes out. Sort them by date. Pull every 1983 piece you find. Check the mint mark. You are looking for that P struck on the obverse near the base of Roosevelt's portrait. Then get your magnification and start looking. Look at the date. Look at the lettering. Look at Roosevelt's features. Look for anything that seems doubled, anything that seems off-center, anything about the coin's weight or surface texture that seems unusual compared to a standard example. Because somewhere out there, in a jar just like your grandmother's, in a coin roll just like the one sitting in your closet, in a collection just like the one you have been meaning to sort through for years, a 1983 Roosevelt dime worth $163 million is waiting. And the person who finds it will not just be lucky. They will be the latest chapter in a story that began on a mint floor in Philadelphia in 1983 when a machine made a mistake and history decided to preserve it forever. This is the grand finale of today's journey through some of the most extraordinary dimes ever to emerge from the United States Mint. And if this video has done nothing else, we hope it has made you look at your pocket change just a little differently from this moment forward. Every coin has a story. Every coin has a history. And every once in a while, a coin has a fortune hidden inside it, waiting for the right person to find it. Thank you for staying with us all the way to the end here on Legacy Coins, because you just proved that the most valuable thing in coin collecting is not just the coin itself. It is the knowledge to recognize it when it is right in front of you.